So here in Pennsylvania, we're still operating without restrictions, which is great news. I saw earlier this morning that the CDC put out some guidance that in hot spots, they would be recommending masks indoors, and I think Vegas went back to employees wearing masks. So, it's one of those fluid situations, as you and I have talked a lot over the past 6 months or so. You just got to be ready, and if it becomes an issue here in PA, then we'll be ready to respond to it. We know what to do now. We've got the playbook, but hopefully we won't have to roll it back out, and we'll be okay up here.
Yeah, and I think the key of what you said is fluid, right? You guys are pretty well ready for anything that pops up, right? You're ready to move.
Yeah, as much as we can be, so we're prepared to roll masks back out. We certainly all still have them. We've still got the inventories and everything like that. Our sanitation wipes are still out on the floor. Hand sanitizers are still out there. We still have all the plexiglass and things like that. If we need to move back to protecting people more, we still actually have plexi up in a lot of places as well around the cage in our My Choice Center. So we feel like we're in a good spot right now, and if we need to do more, we will.
Yeah, and I think, talking to a lot of people across the country, it's not like when it happened the first time where we really didn't know what to do. I think people are even that you have this kind of flare up, people are a lot more comfortable now. I see them a lot more like you, like, hey, we're ready. If it happens, it happens. It's fluid, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. So it's certainly, you learn more as you get more experience with it, and I think that's where we're at.
Tell me a little bit about the customer flow. You still seeing really good customer flow?
We are. We had some, we were able to really bring the property back to its full splendor just a few weeks ago. We had the food truck festival where we had over 30 food trucks and about 25 vendors out on the apron here. Great weekend, well programmed, lots of visitors that came through. So it was great to see that entertainment out on the track. We brought our normal entertainment back in our event center this past weekend with a couple shows. We've got another one coming up this weekend. So, we're seeing more activity, than just the core common gamer coming through. We're getting the retail crowd and everything else that's coming back, which is, what we do. It makes this business fun when you get to start doing a lot more programming and being more creative and offering more amenities out there.
Yeah, and I feel like the strategy with everybody is just to bring everything back slowly, right, and see what's going on, right? Like you said, we bringing this back, and then we brought that back. It wasn't like everything all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, well, some of it is, I'd like to bring it all back. Certainly we're in a position where, from a variety of reasons. One, resource-wise, we're still not at, I think, where we'd like to be from an employment standpoint to go full bore with the business, with all of our restaurant hours and operations and things like that. And then some of it also, from a marketing perspective, we didn't get the notification until, really in early June that by June 28th, we would be able to start removing restrictions and opening things up. So you don't want to get out and lay out a lot of money on the marketing side and start putting a lot of out of home and social and everything, pushing your entertainment strategy until you can do it, right? So I think that's where we're at, and it's just going to build momentum as the summer continues.
Tony, you mentioned the hiring issues. Are you still experiencing those?
Yeah, in the more professional roles, we're seeing a good demand of applicants. It's in those frontline positions, security, food and beverage, table games positions, where we have quite a few openings that we're trying to fill. So we've got more aggressive in our media spend and what we're doing there to get more exposure. But those are the positions that really I think all of us across the industry are struggling to fill. So we're making some progress, but still a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, and I'm sure that I've heard that things are like baby steps getting better. Are you still? Is it still like the same as it was before? You see any progress there?
A little bit of progress. We're seeing more applicants come through as the state's modified some of its rules around unemployment support and all those types of things. We've certainly seen a better applicant flow there. But I think as we get closer to the fall, I think we'll start to see more applicants coming through, and we'll start to get those positions filled. We've had to adjust wages like everybody else. We've made wage adjustments and things like that to stay up with the market and some of those roles. But I think we've got a great benefits package. Penn National Gaming is a great company to be with 41 properties. If you're looking to grow a career, there's not too many better gaming companies to join right now. So I think what we offer, is very compelling, and we'll get where we need to be in the long run.
Tony, do you feel like the workforce has changed permanently? Do you think that our approach is changing and the workforce is changing? Like I heard, like 30% of people have left the service industry, and a lot of people are assessing, if one person should work, that kind of thing. Do you think moving forward, we're looking at this a lot differently?
I think in a lot of ways we will. If you follow, Wall Street, and you listen to, a lot of what CEOs are saying about their own companies, and companies that, unlike ours, where you have to be here, we're able to offer work from home, and now they're trying to bring these folks back, and they're getting some resistance to that. I think that's an adjustment that companies are going to have to make and have to look at to say, okay, well, we need people back to have culture, to have in a company, and really have a foundation, of what you believe in, and get the mission, vision, and values right. I think people have to be connected. And video is great. It's great that, you and I can sit here and talk and catch up all the time. But, there's nothing like being in person, right? And having people around and being able to develop that culture and that relationship with folks. So, I think we're going to have to rethink things and rebalance things a little bit there for folks. We might need to look at hours and things like that on how we schedule and things to that nature to get better people work-life balance. I think there's just going to be a little bit of maneuvering that we maybe didn't have to do previously that we got to think about more.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the key there, what you said, was culture. I think that people are looking at more of their experience at work much closer than they were before. You agree with that?
I think I agree with that, but I think also you take the stresses of home, right? I've got kids at home. I'm in a great position where thankfully my wife doesn't have to work. But if you've got two incomes, and you've got both parents that have to be out in the workforce, okay, well, if one can do it from home now because you've had this rise of at-home jobs and everything else, or you've had this experience of being home and you've seen the value from the family side of it, and now maybe one of them doesn't want to return. I think that's the stuff that we're kind of, battling a little bit, and and it's might be better for society in the long run too. I don't know, but it's certainly something that's transitioning, and it's an inflection point probably in our lives of how the workforce and how the environment's going to change for quite some time.
No, I agree with you 100%. In the kids and family life, people spending the whole year with their families, I think that's really opened their eyes to a lot of things. Tony, what from a bird's eye perspective here, how do you feel about everything that's going on?
I still feel confident about where things are, from an economic standpoint here in the market, and from a even more macro level. I think from a nation, going across our country, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Certainly you're fighting inflation, you're fighting scarcity of resources and all these things, but you see people out, you see people spending, you see people being very active in the economy, which is a great sign. So all those things I think are good things for us to be optimistic about, and I think to what we talked about earlier, people understand the pandemic and how to manage through that better, and if we have to put masks back out, I think people are more tolerable to that now. So I think we're in a better spot as an industry than we were certainly a year ago, so I feel pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with everything that you said, but the hiring and the key here of what you said is that people are out spending. People are out, they want to have a good time. We're seeing great customer flow. The other stuff we just got to manage. And, nothing can be harder than managing a shutdown. When you shut down, you're doing zero, right? You're just praying that you're going to be open. So this is all going in the right way. And I really like what you said, it's fluid. It's fluid. We don't know what's going to happen. But the one thing for sure is we've learned a lot from the last year, and we're ready to attack anything. Tony, great insights. Always a pleasure having you on. Looking forward to having you back.
Yeah, it was good to talk to you, Tino. Thanks, bud.